Please be seated. Now I'd like to have our prayer chaplain for the day, Martin Klatnoth, come forward to light the Christ candle and read the daily word.
Good morning, friends.
Good morning.
The Christ candle reminds us of the spark of the divine which is within each of us. We are truly beings of light, presently living within these earthly bodies. When we allow our true nature to shine forth, we can co-create a world of light and love and service and acceptance. So let your light shine today. The thought for today is we are one. In oneness, we live in love. Jesus was clear to those who gathered in his name when he shared, "Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another." His followers observed this directive by gathering in spiritual communities, sharing freely with each other, and giving readily to those in need. Their commonality was a willingness to live in love. I remember Jesus' words and feel my loving connection to all other beings on the planet. I know that we are all truly spirit, intimately linked through the energy of divine mind. I send my energy out in the form of peace and love. In my work, play, and service to others, I share oneness. In doing this, I am reaffirming my connection with infinite love and with all life. In oneness, we live in love. And from the book of John, chapter 13, verse 35, "By this everyone will know you, that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another."
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever.
So come with me this morning on a journey. We're going to climb a mountain together. So as we begin, we look at all of the different paths. There's a path of love, wisdom, beauty, joy, light, harmony, peace. So you get to decide which path you're going to take as we begin our climb. Know that it's a beautiful day. A gentle breeze, a warm sun. And as you begin this climb, you start to realize that all of the paths crisscross. And on your way, you meet others, your friends, your families. You each stop and you share a little bit of wisdom, a little bit of joy, a little bit of happiness, a little bit of light. Whatever's being revealed to you on your path, you just keep crisscrossing. And realize that even though we're on separate paths, we all are one. And as you're getting closer to the top of the mountain, you begin to crowd together. And at the very top of this mountain is a beautiful castle. And it is radiating beautiful light and energy. And as you enter, you are immersed into the oneness and the light. And what you see before you is just infinite intelligence, divine mind, spirit. And you know right then and right there, the truth is, we are all one. So today, as you slowly and gently start down the mountain, bring with you the knowingness, the connectedness of each one of us. Bring with you the feeling of peace, love. And as you're almost now down to the ground before you, the chair in which you are sitting in. Slowly, gently, when you're ready, come back to this very sacred place. I don't know how you guys feel about the chairs, but I am loving seeing all your faces this way. So we'll see where we're going to go with this, but it is joyous. It is wholly joyous. So today we're going to talk about breaking bread. And when you're breaking down barriers and building connections, you must do this before you can actually, in truth, break bread together. So breaking bread then is sometimes a metaphor for making peace with another person or persons. It can even mean a means to ending an argument. Breaking bread is one of the most ancient forms of developing and fostering relationships. Would you agree with me on that? Yes? Okay, good. So taken literally then, when you invite someone to break bread with you, it's an invitation to eat with them, to share a sacredness. For me, it's very sacred because I love my home and I love having people at my table. And once you sit at my table and you share bread with me, that's as sacred, and I hold that as a special connection. I believe that there's something so profoundly satisfying about sharing a meal together. Eating together is one of the oldest and most fundamental experiences that we have as human beings. You know, I remember growing up and all of a sudden my mom would say, "Come on, get in the car, we're going over Aunt Harriet's." And we'd stop at the bakery and we'd stop at the deli and we'd get cold cuts and potato salad and we'd get a cake and we'd walk in. And in those days, we just walked into each other's houses, and my aunt would put on the tea kettle, and there we would sit an hour or two, and the other times people just popped in our house. So sitting together and sharing together is one of the most beloved things that we can do. But as we prepare then for Thanksgiving, we'll break bread with families and with friends. And the memories, the smell of turkey cooking, the herbs, parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. And yes, I know that's part of a song. I had to ask Leanne. I couldn't think of the first one. She told me parsley. And then you have cinnamon and you have nutmeg. Are you starting to get hungry? Yeah, because all of those smells, when you walk into a house, it brings back memories and it floods over you. But here's the rub on that. Not all families get along. And sometimes unresolved issues have a tendency to pop up during the holiday times. So what do you do about this? How do you handle it? You get to choose. And sometimes that means making different plans and or staying away from toxic situations. Now, I know it's just a few days before Thanksgiving, and it's a hard time to start doing family conversations, but it's never too late. It's never too late to offer out that olive branch and heal. We have to begin to start having real conversations, not conversations about I'm right and let me prove it to you, or you're so wrong and let me prove it to you, but real conversations where we choose the words, conversations that don't attack each other, conversations that offer a mutual agreement. Can we come together on this? Can we agree on this? And can we put aside everything else? It's time that when we go into each other's homes, when somebody invites you to their table, then you have a responsibility to respect that table and for the one that is making that meal. So I don't know where all of you are going. I know a lot of you are coming to my house, so we're not going to have any problems there. But it's really important to know that somebody has put a lot of effort into something for you and your family and your friends. Charles Fillmore wrote this: "Words are also seeds, and when dropped into the invisible substance, they grow and bring forth of their kind." The message here then is to choose words very carefully. Keep away from topics that are hot topics. This is not the place to bring up what you did to me 30 years ago. And whose fault was it? I remember that. I remember it well, yes. And of course, religion and politics, we know that that's a no-no unless you all go to the same church and you're all of the same party. But even then, there are better subjects, much better subjects, like gratitude and funny family stories. I don't know if I've told you this one before, but you're going to have me here for years, so you're going to hear them again. So anyhow, funny Thanksgiving story. So I moved to Piermont, New York, and I rented this old house, and it had the big dining room, and it had the big closet in it where you could keep all your serving dishes, and you could sit 25 people around the table easily. And I had the china and the silver and the crystal and all the good stuff that I use all the time, by the way. And my whole family from Pennsylvania came. But along with that came new boyfriends, and they were all boyfriends that came with my nieces. So everything gets on the table and sit down, and I see everybody is choking on laughter. And I'm going, okay, what's the joke? Well, when I grew up, you didn't put soda cans on a table. And on holidays, it was just apple cider. That was discussed it at all. And the boyfriends had all brought soda cans to the table. So my sister said, get them off the table because she'll go nuts. You can't put soda cans on her holiday table. So all of the guys were sitting there, and they had their soda cans between their legs holding them so that I wouldn't go crazy. But see, this is a funny story. And I know that you all have funny stories in your life that you could share at the holiday time. That's one of my most favorites. So I did let them put it on the table, and my mother was turning over in her grave, but it was all okay. So you have to understand, I'm from New York, and my mother thought she was Emily Post, so you'll get that better. But you have to sort of just let go for the day. Let go of the stuff. Leave it at the door before you go in, and make blessings and room for love, and to start our meals in gratitude and peace. And in fact, we need to start all our meals in gratitude and peace. See, it's our responsibility, each one of us, to set the tone with holiday conversations. It's not to resurrect old hurts and arguments so that you can point somebody into your point of view. We don't want to do that. We want to create a family experience and open to all, perhaps laying a foundation for healing, for letting it go. When we hold resentment, we bring it to the table, and then it has an emotional link that is strong as steel. And we don't want that. I don't want that. So enters then what? Forgiveness. Forgiveness is the only way to dissolve the link and allow yourself to be free. See, it's forgiveness. It's for giving to someone. We give. Thanksgiving. We give thanks. We give. And if we can remember that we give from our hearts, and we give of love, and we give of gratitude, then we have forgivingness. Have conversations with your families and friends, and speak of the relatives who are coming and why they're coming, and there might be one thorn in that whole bunch of roses. But bring joy and love to the mix. Talk to your children or your husband or your grandma if she lives with you, and say, this year, we are not leaving Uncle or Aunt so-and-so out. but we are going to bless them with love as they walk through the door. Because if you start creating that energy within your home before that one aunt or uncle or grandma gets there, then you've already lifted everybody up. Have that conversation before. Rosemary Fillmore Ray wrote this: "The world we are experiencing today, it's the result of our collected consciousness. And if we want a new world, each one of us must take responsibility to help create it." Do you agree with that? We do that. So if we want a new experience at our holiday tables, then it's our responsibility to lift up, let go of, oh my God, I always give them a present that costs $50 and they give me a thing from Ross. I remember when I was growing up, my mother always yelling. It was called Whites of Massapequa, and my aunt shopped there, and my mother didn't shop in those kind of stores. And oh my God, is that all ridiculous? It's all ridiculous. So what does this all come down to anyhow? What does it come down to? It comes down to pure and simple love. It's that simple. It comes down to love. How much are you loving yourself? Because how much you're loving yourself is how much you can give out. So if you're in conflict with people, your workers or your family or your friends or your neighbors, then you have to say, what part of me then isn't healed? What part of me needs to reach deeper? And when you find that part, it's not like, oh God, it's like, thank you, God, for showing that to me. Thank you, Spirit, for bringing it up to me. See, love is the most important thing in our lives. And this is something we would fight and die for. We do that for our country, for the love of the United States. We struggle and we reach for. We want to belong. We want to be loved. And if you really want to fully experience love and belonging, you must believe you're worth it. You are all worth it. And I'm here to tell you, you are all worthy. And more than enough, it's your divine right. It's your divine inheritance to be happy, to be joyous, to be loved. And I don't care who told you you were less than worthy. It's a lie. It is a lie. This is time to be in gratitude, to stand up tall and say, I'm enough. I'm perfect as I am. Let me hear you. I am enough. I'm perfect as I am. And so it is. It is the truth. It is the truth. Brene Brown has written her own definition of love and belonging in this wonderful book that I just read, The Gifts of Imperfection. And on love, she says this. This is her interpretations. We cultivate love when we allow our most vulnerable and powerful selves to be deeply seen and known. And when we honor the spiritual connection that grows from that offering with trust, respect, and love. Love is not something we give or get. And I love this line. It's not something that we give or get. It's something we nurture and grow, a connection that can only be cultivated between two people when it exists in each one of them. The love has to be within you to cultivate it between two people. We can only love others as we love ourselves. And that is the truth. And on belonging, she says, belonging is an innate human desire to be part of something larger than ourselves. That's why you're here. Because pretty much everything I say, you know at some level. But we're here to be something larger than ourselves, to do more with our lives and with our fellow citizens. Because this yearning, it's primal. We often try to acquire it by fitting in or seeking approval, which are not, they're hollow substitutes. They actually put barriers between fitting in and belonging. True belonging only happens when we present our authentic, imperfect selves. Hear that? Authentic, imperfect. We are not striving to be perfect. We are striving to be the best we can be, and the next day to be the best we can be than we were the day before. We're not striving for perfection. Excellence in what we do, yes. Perfection, no. Perfection is a killer. So what I'm saying to you, knowing this, knowing all of what I've said so far, can you have some compassion and empathy for your friends and family? You know what I know? Because I know it about myself. They're just little kids crying out for love. That's all. That's all. We all have that little child in us, and I would venture to say that each one of us could do some healing with that little child. I know mine surfaces, and it fights like hell when it comes out. And when you can nurture that little child. I remember one time doing a Louise Hay workshop, and you had to take your hand, and you had to take your little child out and put your child in your hand, and you had to talk to it. I want to tell you that was one of the hardest things that I have ever done. And it just breaks you. It breaks you in millions of little pieces. But by doing that, then you can see where and what is going on inside. So when we break bread at dinner time, then pause. Pause and send out love. So as I said then in the beginning of this service, breaking down barriers and building connections must happen before we break bread. And it's sometimes making peace with another person. So today, what I would like to do, before we actually and literally break bread, is I would like to, Tom, if you wouldn't put this on, I would like each one of you to just, and you can go there, introduce yourself and say how long you have been here. And why do I want to do that? You're going, oh God, here she goes. Because sometimes I will be talking to Louie, and I'll say, hey, Louie, do you know that Patty's coming over tomorrow to help me with anything? And he goes, Patty, who's Patty? I go, the tall one with the long blonde hair. So we see each other. In fact, Patty did a wonderful thing today. It's why she's on my mind. I saw her go over to Diane and Dave Pauly and say, I know you, but I've never introduced myself. And that's what we need to be doing. We need to say, like, okay, I know her, but what's her name again? So if you will start, Tom, and just quickly, guys, we don't want your life history. We just want to know who you are and how long you've been here. And if you're a guest, you can say, I'm a guest. So, Tom, would you stand and do that?
I'm Tom Kloiber. I've been here 36 years.
Hi, I'm Wendy Gussie, and I've been here for about a month now.
I'm going to sit. I'm Annie Horsen, and I've been here 41 years.
Whoa.
I'm John Horsen, and I've been here approximately 20 years.
I'm Shirley Schultz. I'm Annie's mom, and I'm in and out.
I'm Kay Carlson, and I've been here about 35 years or better.
I'm Patty Dolan. I've been here about 13 years.
I'm Reverend Ginny, and I have been in and out since 1997 here. And I want to thank you for your lesson. Now I'm going to call my nephew the Bears fan and invite him for Thanksgiving.
Hi, I'm Cindy, and I came back to Unity Mother's Day of last year.
I'm Mark, and we were just trying to think. It's probably been about 9 years.
I'm Sherry. I'm with him.
I'm Monica. I've been here about 5 years.
I'm Louie, and I'm with her.
I'm Rodney, and I've been here, I think, a little over a year.
Okay.
I'm Ed. I'm with Rodney. I've been here about a year.
I'm Brenda, and I've been here about 10 years.
And I'm Dirk, and I'm with Brenda.
I'm Danny, and I've been here about 20 years.
I'm Diane. I've been here about 25 years.
I'm Dar, and I've been here about maybe 8 years.
I'm Rose, and I've been here just a little over a year.
I'm Phyllis. I started in 1990 and took a long break and then came back in 2011, I think it was. And just quickly, I want to tell you a Polish Catholic tradition about breaking bread properly, and you do it every year, either at Christmas time or at New Year's. You buy a packet of communion wafer material, but it's rectangular. It's maybe 4 by 6 inches, something like that, and it has a holy picture impressed in it. You have it blessed by the priest if you really are into it, or you don't have to. And each person around the table gets their own, it's called an opłatek. And you start breaking, you break off the piece from the one next to you and consume it. They break off a piece of yours and consume it. So everybody around the table gets a piece of everybody else's communion wafer. And it's about forgiveness. And you don't say, oh, Steph, my sister Stephanie, I forgive you for getting chocolate all over my nice white blouse. No.
Okay, thank you.
So, and if you do it every year, it's a cumulative effect. You do not build up these resentments.
Thank you.
Leanne Tevish, and I'm happy to say I've been here all my life.
Yay!
Kathy Robinson, a couple of months.
Dave Pauly, 6 months.
Hello, everyone. Diane Pauly, 6 months. I'm with that guy.
Vita Martin, about 19 years.
Whoa, yay.
Renee Makuta, almost a year.
Is this not good? And it brings joy, and it brings love, and it brings connectedness. I know. We're waiting for it.
I'm Jules.
And I've been here almost 4 years.
Okay.
I'm Mike Muckerhide. I've been here about 18 years.
I'm Tina Barth, regularly a few months.
I'm Carrie Smith, about 20 years.
I'm Jill Hogue. I've been in and out about 10 years. I'm a member for the last year.
I'm Jeanette. I have no idea. I didn't know there was a test today. I think it's 17. I'll have to go back.
Kathy Ledwith, about 13 years.
Joshua Batson, about 50 minutes.
Brad Seibel, 27 years. Praise God.
Robert, I've been coming off and on for about 10 years.
I'm Joan Stetter, and I've been coming off and on for past 20, 25 years.
Yay, Joan.
Martin Klatnoff, this spiritual community, a little over 2 years.
Jorge Gonzalez, February 22, 2012. That's 6 years.
My name is Melissa. Been here for like 6 years.
Jim Carey, on and mostly off for about 30 years.
Janet Carey, in and out for about 35 years.
Scott Horsen, guest today, but like Jim, mostly out over the last 30, 35 years. That was a long time.
Mara Horsen, and I've been a guest.
I don't know, it's like me.
Bella Horsen, I've been in and out. Eva Horsen, I've been in and out.
Todd Horsen, been in and out most of my life, mostly out.
Kristen Horsen, guest.
We did that. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Who am I? I'm Reverend Aubree-Lynn, in case you didn't know that. Oh, great. Why I wanted to do this too, I knew that it would lift energies and hearts and souls, and it brings such joy in here. I want to tell you quickly, and then I'll go on. When we were putting these chairs together, I want to talk about laughter within these walls. So the prayer circle, I asked them after prayer circle if they would help me. And so Patty and Kay, Carlson, and like were over here, and then myself and Rose and Sandy Alexander were over here. And so Rose and Sandy Alexander and I are trying to figure out, and we're looking, and we're going, oh God, how do we get the curve? And we look over there, and Patty's got 3 rows done already. And we're going like, so then Rose goes, I want to be on their team. And I said, you get back here. But see, the laughter, that was a Wednesday morning, and the laughter in here, the laughter in these walls was so exquisite. Like Jules is back at the desk like, what are they doing, right? Look at her. So this is important. It's important that we begin to lighten up and share with each other and know our faces. And if somebody is here that you haven't spoken to before, every Sunday, try to speak to one person that you've never had a conversation with, because the prayer group is so bound together. The Power of 8 group is so bound together, and this is what we're doing. We're creating community within the community, and it's so important. So I'm going to read a little something to you, and then we are actually going to break bread together. So seeds scattered on fertile ground are warmed by the sun and fed by the soil. They sprout, they grow, producing great fields of grain. The grain is harvested, ground into flour, and shipped across the nation. The flour is mixed with yeast, water, salt, and kneaded, allowed to rise, and baked to make bread. The bread is broken into sacred space of the center, and it is being shared in this community with love. The breaking of bread is an ancient ritual of community and memory celebrated in many different traditions, in many different ways. Today, as we approach this celebration of Thanksgiving, we break bread together to celebrate the abundance of the harvest, the hard work of all who make our lives possible, and a community that gathers here to celebrate together. These loaves were baked with love, abundant love, love that multiplies all around. So as you pass the basket to the person next to you, we invite you to turn to them and say, I offer you the bread of community. Say that with me. I offer you the bread of community. And as the bread is passed to you, take a piece from the basket and eat it. And doing so, taking in the love of this community. As you eat the bread, bring to mind things of people for which you are thankful of this time of year. I offer you the bread of community. we offer you the bread of community.
Thank you, Renee.
Did everybody share? And so ends this lesson, and so begins a very new moment. And so it is. And now I would like to introduce Louis, and he's going to sing Days by the Kinks.
Kinks. Let me finish the thread first. So I think Thanksgiving is like my favorite holiday because, you know, you don't have to bring gifts or anything. And it kind of reminds me of a gathering that I went to yesterday, which was Annie and John's 50th anniversary. And they just, yeah, it was awesome because they said, don't bring any gifts or anything and just come as you are. And I came in jeans and a vest. I just finished doing some yard work. And it was just a great feeling, just people there just celebrating and no expectations or anything. And I think that's how Thanksgiving is. Everybody just comes and hopefully has a good time and eats well. This song, Cindy was supposed to sing today, Cindy Clapnoff, but she's not feeling too good. So I had to come up with something really fast. And this is a thank you song for people that have been through my life that I still carry. And hi, Mom. Thank you for the days, those endless days, those sacred days you gave me. I'm thinking of the days I won't forget a single day.